Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Love and Money Live. We are so glad you're here today with us joining. We hope that your love and your money is going well.
Yes.
And we really hope that your love is going well. Okay, let's get started. As we said in the description, this is a super duper important one. So I'll tell you a little bit of a background as to why we're talking about this today. And what we're going to be talking about is what role your secondary money personality, number two, plays in your life and also plays in any relationships that you have. So the reason why this is coming up is because we did a magnificent marriage conference about, maybe 3 weeks ago now. It was great. We had a tremendous crowd.
So fun.
Oh my goodness. It was so much fun. And this was kind of funny. So we went out to dinner Friday night after Good Friday service to a restaurant local here. It's called CB Potts. And we were sitting in the bar area and just having our dinner with our one son. And 3 different couples came up and talked to us about their experience at the marriage conference. And the first person actually was sitting in the bar right near us, and he came up, he was sitting with his wife, and he came up and he's like, I am the flyer and she is the saver. And we just started busting up because it was just so cute. He just came up and he just was like pointing up. And then the next person, she came by and she was talking and she couldn't quite remember her many personalities, but she remembered her primary. I can't remember what it was, but she remembered her primary. And then the third couple came up and they were just so excited because talking about their many personalities had just helped them with this one particular situation that they told us about. But the thing that we found really interesting as we were talking to these couples, it was so fun to see their excitement and enthusiasm of how much the information helped them. But the thing that really stuck out to us is that people aren't necessarily remembering their secondary money personality and how important that secondary money personality is and what role does it play. So what we thought we would do is to spend a little bit of time in talking about why that secondary money personality is so important and why knowing it inside of your relationship can really be a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting for Scott and myself, and I'm going to start with us for just a minute to just give you an example of how this works. We're both primary spenders. So if we just, and we've had arguments about money. But if we just stayed with our primaries, which are both the same, we love to spend money on ourselves, we love to give gifts, we just love to do that, we wouldn't know where our conflict was coming from.
Right.
Because we're both primary spenders.
Right.
We would think, oh, well, why would we have any conflict? Because we're both primary spenders, but we have quite a bit of conflict. And where that conflict comes in is in our secondary money personalities. And the thing that's interesting about the secondary money personality is it's that oftentimes it's the underlying issue is where that secondary money personality has conflict. And so for us, Scott's secondary is a security seeker, and I'm a risk taker. So that's where we have our conflict. So for example, when we want to go on a vacation, I want to go somewhere different. And he wants to go somewhere that we've gone the same because security seeker is where we are. So that's how that impacts our relationship. So what we want to do today, just to give you an example of where that secondary comes in and how important it is. First of all, we want to talk, and we're going to go back and we're going to talk about how the secondary impacts you personally and understanding your personal one. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how that secondary money personality plays its role in your relationship.
So let me jump into number 1, which is the contradictory that a lot of us have inside ourselves. It's something we call the opposite dynamic. So I'll use myself as an example because I really struggled with this opposite dynamic. And I kind of thought to myself, why am I so crazy when it comes to money? So my first money personality is a spender. My secondary money personality is a security seeker. So I would be fine spending money. I would be fine, going out and birthday shopping and doing all these things. And then, so I kind of had a spender on one shoulder talking and saying, yeah, this is fun. This is no big deal. But then on the way back in the car, I'd be like, oh my gosh, how much money did we spend? Did we have that money budgeted for? Did we have that planned for? So it was kind of this huge. If you have buyer's remorse, then you have the opposite dynamic, because trust me.
Or you're a saver security seeker.
Yeah, you could be a saver security seeker, but you have that opposite dynamic. And you'll never understand that unless you understand your secondary money personality. See, I could understand why I like to spend. I couldn't understand why I had such bad buyer's remorse. And once we understood that and started saying, hey, my money personality has that contradictory secondary and my primary money personality, it explained to Beth why I would deal with money the way I did. It explained to me why I dealt with money the way I did, and it kind of let me lighten up in some areas of my life. So I will just encourage you, being an opposite dynamic. Thank you for the heart, by the way. Having the opposite dynamic, that it's really, really important to know, because it helps other people around you too.
Absolutely. Let me give you another example of how really knowing her secondary money personality helped her. This friend, actually this person we know, her name is Sarah. And her primary money personality, well, let me tell you, okay, I'll tell you what her both were. Her primary money personality is flyer. That means that she puts relationships, she flies by the seat of her pants when it comes to money. She puts relationships over and above money, which is awesome. So she's primary flyer, secondary saver, okay? She didn't know that, but when she took the money personality assessment, this is what she said to us. She said, now I understand why I'm willing to spend thousands of dollars to take the family to Disney World, but I will not go to a movie theater and spend $10 to go see a movie. I have to watch my movies at home because they're cheaper and I can just get them on Netflix. She's like, I never understood that. And this now, because she knows her secondary money personality, it explains so much about her. So the flyer is, willing to spend money, be with relationships, be with her family. She'll spend all this money to do that. But that saver creeps in when it comes to everyday things like spending money to go to a movie versus watching a movie at home. Do you see how that works? That secondary money personality is crucial. Knowing your combination, do not just wait and focus on that primary one. It's that secondary underlying one that is crucial to understanding. So those are two examples of how understanding your secondary money personality in your own self is crucial. Now let's just talk a little bit about in the relationship. Again, thank you for joining us. What we're talking about today is the importance of your secondary money personality in your life and then also in your relationships. So I spent at the beginning of our time a little bit talking about Scott and myself and our conflict. Our conflict is not in our primary. If we would stop at our primary, we would not understand how to have a better relationship. Where we have just helped us so much is our secondary money personalities are totally opposite. And we see a bump into each other all the time.
And it's interesting because, you can have couples that have 4 different money personalities.
I know.
And so those money personalities are bumping all the time. But just as tough as it is when your primaries are different, those secondaries being different can fuel the same amount of fights, can drive each other crazy without even really kind of meaning to. And so one of the beautiful things about your money personalities is it really does put you in the driver's seat as far as understanding, okay, where are those differences going to click? And for some of you, it might be like you'd just be going along and everything would be fine because our primaries would be in sync, and then something would happen in the secondary and boom, we're in a money fight. That often happens with couples, and I hear that all the time. We don't fight about money, but like every once in a while, he or she does something, and I'm like, what the heck was that? And it leads to a big fight. Well, those are the secondary money personalities coming into play. So it's interesting for a lot of couples look at the primaries and I hear them say, well, we never fight about money. I say, well, it's great. And they say, but, well, yeah, okay, occasionally we do. As where some couples that have 4 different money personalities in them, they're fighting about money all the time unless they have those figured out.
Absolutely. So what would be an example of 2 money personalities in a marriage that would really conflict. You know, we have the risk taker security seeker, and that's a huge conflict. But what would be another example?
Spender saver is huge. When one person is spending and one person is driving them crazy, or one person doesn't feel like they'll let the other person spend money, we see huge conflicts. Hi, Amy. We see huge conflicts in that regard. So the saver spender is a huge conflict. Ours, the risk taker security seeker. You can have a risk taker flyer that's sometimes, or not flyer, a risk taker spender or risk taker saver. That can create huge conflict. So really understanding how those are going to run into each other. We have this amazing report online that shows how those conflict in a relationship once you take the money personality assessment, that actually lays that out for you as well.
Absolutely. So again, knowing your secondary money personality, please do not sell yourself short just focusing on your primaries. Own your secondary money personalities. Know how that works together for you individually. Know how that works together in your relationship. And oh my goodness, you guys, it has helped us so much. I can't even tell you. I mean, there's like example after example where that conflict for us comes up. I swear, it probably comes up once a week, and we're able to identify it and say, oh, that's your security seeker. Oh, that's your risk taker. Oh, okay, I understand. That's the way you are. That's how God made you. You're never going to change. So now let's figure out a compromise. I love saying compromise with purpose. And if you compromise with purpose, knowing who you both are, you get a wonderful compromise, one that satisfies you both. And it's just great. So Scott mentioned our money personality report. When you take actually in the comments, I'll just go ahead and put the link to the report so you can pick that up. And actually, we have a 10% discount going on right now. So if you are a saver or security seeker, you're gonna love that. So just put in when you check out, it's not only gonna be available for not very long, maybe like 2 more days. So be sure to get it today. And it's 10 now. Number 1, number 0, capital N, capital O, capital W, get it 10% off. But that report is great. 17 pages, chock full of information about how you make decisions, how others perceive you, which is really important. And it's really a fun, light, easy read. But we also hope that you'll take some of the tips that we give you inside of it too. So really important, if you both understand both of your money personalities and do that deep dive, you get just a really great
Make a big difference.
Makes a big difference. All right, everybody. Well, it was so great to be with you today. We hope you're having a blessed day. And as always, make it happen.